Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. We're live after 5 a.m. and it is Thursday. Can I get a hoo-hoo because it's really Friday? Because we are out of here mañana, tomorrow. You guys have a 4-day break. Lucky you. I have a 3-day break because I have to come back in here on Monday. So what do we need to do here today? What needs to happen in this program? You cannot program what you don't understand. So if you don't understand what's going to happen here, then you can't do it. What do we have to get done? Say it. What needs to happen? This guy, can you guys see that there's a green square in there? Okay. This guy needs to bounce around all over the place. Do you want it to go 1001, 1002? 1003, would that be a hard game? No. So you want to make it go pretty quick, and then you want to try to bounce and get them. Now, what happens if this guy goes over here? Can you let your sprite go over here? No. Can you let it go down here off the canvas? No. Can I allow it to go to the left? Can I allow it to go to the right? So you have to keep this sprite moving on the screen. And you can't let it go to here. Now, does anyone know what XY coordinate my guy has? Which part of it, this guy right here, is its XY coordinate? We've talked about it this year, okay? If you guys look right here, the XY coordinate is this top left corner. Everybody say top left. Okay, everybody needs to look up here and stop what you're doing. All right. The top left, does everybody understand that? The top left corner is your XY coordinate point. Okay, so this year we've talked about this point right here. This top left corner of my canvas, what coordinate is that? No. What is that? No. This is 0, 0. So, and what coordinate is this over here? Remember we talked about the screen is 300 pixels wide? So this is 300, 0. Who understands that? So then this would be like 300, I don't know, it's normally 300, 400, but our buttons are taking up some, and the scoreboard's taking up some. So this is probably like 300, 350. That's probably not true, but, and then right down here, this is 0 in the X, 350. We'll just guesstimate that it's true. Who understands these coordinate points? Can I send this character right here to 300, 0? Can I let him go to 300? Can I let this guy go to 300? So if I send him to 300, I can do that? Hello? No. Because the top left corner is its XY coordinate point. So can I send this guy to 300? No. What's the farthest I can come over here? Okay. Can I go to 0, 0? Yeah, that'd be fine, right? Because the top left-hand corner is tucked into 0, 0. This guy is right in the top left corner, and it's perfect. You can go to 0, 0. Can I go to 300? No. Can I go down to 350? No. Why? Yeah, the XY coordinate's at the top. So what happens to your sprite if you're at 350 in the y-axis? It's off the page. It's not going to stop. It'll go to where, if you send it to 1,000, it's going to go over 1,000 and down. That would be way over here. This thing, a computer doesn't know any limits. Are you with me? It starts at 0, 0 here, and it goes on to infinity. But we, the programmer, have to know it goes from 0, 0 to 300, right? So what's the farthest I can go? Let's do some simple math here real quick. I just redid my guy, and I said my width of this sprite is 50 pixels. Are you with me on that? So if this guy is 50, what's the farthest I can come over here? 250, right? So the farthest you can come over to is 250. Does that make sense? Because, let me go get this guy. Come on. Okay, the farthest I can go to is the width of the sprite. The 300 minus the width. Down here, you're going to have to go 350 minus the height. That's the farthest I can go to. Okay, this point down here has to be 350 minus the height of the sprite. Who understands this? Over here, what point is this? This is going to have to be the 300 minus the width of the sprite. So whatever your sprite is, okay, and that's why we don't use numbers, because I don't care. Everybody in here could have a different sprite. Elijah's could be 50. Reese's could be 36. Kennedy's could be 24. Are you with me? Who's in the back? Tabitha could be 48. Are you with me on that? So we're just going to subtract off whatever your width is. We're going to subtract it off. Who understands this? You have to slow down and speed up to understand this, or you cannot program what we're getting ready to do. All right? Who understands this? All right, now let's go program it. Okay, so we're going to go back into MIT. All right, we took 7 minutes to understand that. Slowing down to speed up, right? So I used 7 minutes of a 42-minute class. Why? Why did I use that 7 minutes? Because you can't program what you don't understand, right? If you don't understand this, you can't program this. All right, so here we go. Screen 1, initialize. When the game starts, what do we have to do? Okay, add a comment to this. You have to turn the clock on. All right, you got to turn the clock on. So you come down here to clock, move sprite. And you set its timer enabled to true. Remember, you can just type out true and it pops up. And then you also want to do this for the clock game time. You're going to turn them on. All right. So I'm going to go down here to my clock again and get my timer event. Remember, this is going to have a timer event. And I'm going to duplicate this, and over here I'm going to have a game time event. And I'm going to do both clocks today. One clock moves the sprite. Okay, this guy here will add a comment. Clock that moves sprite around canvas randomly. Okay, now do you guys know why? Do you guys see why comments are kind of cool? They're like little post-it notes that you can put up in here and say whatever you want to say, just your thoughts. I think I spelled something wrong here. I did. Okay. And this guy over here, what's he do? What's this clock used for? Runs the seconds in the game clock. Okay. All right, here we go. All right, so now on screen 1, actually we're going to have a start reset game, right? Don't we have a reset button? So isn't the reset button going to be exactly like starting the game? So we might as well start doing this right now, okay? We might as well start doing this procedure over here. And this is going to be start, reset, game. That way when we hit reset, your reset button's already done. All right? So let's go do the reset button right now. Before we even do anything, let's do the reset button. Okay, I'm going to click on the reset button, and what am I going to call? Start reset game. Even though I haven't even done it yet, right? Have I started the game yet? Have I reset the game yet? No. But can I do the reset button right now? Yeah. Because starting the game and resetting the game are exactly the same. Okay? So instead of me putting stuff in here that I have to copy and paste, all I'm going to do is say, okay, when you initialize the game, start and reset. All right? I don't like these way up here. I'm going to drag this guy way down here for right now. Okay, give me a little bit of room underneath there. All right, so here we go. Who's with me on this? We doing all right so far? Is this that hard? No. Now if you do it a couple times, you're like, yeah, I get it. All right. So what I want to do in here is set the intervals of our clocks. Okay, so clock, move, sprite, set interval. And this is what's kind of cool about this, is that you can really do them at the same time. I can duplicate this guy, and this is move sprite, and down here this is going to be game time. We've talked about intervals this year. How much is 1 second? Who remembers how many milliseconds is a second? Yeah. What? No. It was 1,000. 1,000 milliseconds is a second. So, should our sprite move every second? No, that's pretty slow, right? 1,001. Let's go back to my board here. Okay, where's my sprite at? No, I think I can do it from the game, right? So yeah, I can grab this guy here. 1,001, 1,002, 1,003, 1,004. Is that a fun game? No, that's like incredibly boring. Okay. So move sprite, I would probably make it at 500. Half a second. So it's going to move twice in a second. Who understands that? If 1,000 milliseconds is a second, 500 is half a second, and then the way I like to think about it is not being half a second, but that it occurs twice in a second. Okay? Figure out how many times it happens per second. So if this happens, 500 is half a second, then this is going to move twice in a second. So this clock right here, move sprite, is going to fire every 500 milliseconds, which is a half a second, so which means it happens twice a second. Okay? So I can say this right here. This clock fires twice every second. Okay? Every second. All right? Okay, so let's go make our guy move. So let's go grab the image sprite player. Yeah, Ben?
It's not letting me like put down the 500 true. Like,
Then you don't have timer interval. You have timer enabled or something like that. It won't let you put it in time enabled. It has to be time interval, interval. There's a difference between interval and there's a difference between enabled. You with me on that? Be diligent, be exact. I know it's hard to read. That's why I'm talking with my administrator about getting every single one of you a separate monitor, so my monitor is right in between, right there next to you. You guys with me on that? Okay, so what you're going to do here is you're going to set your player's X and Y coordinate. So go ahead and get your set image players X and Y. You can just copy it, change your X to Y. Thumbs up if you got that. Okay. Do we want a random X and Y here? Yes, we do, right? We want a random location. So you're going to have to go to math. Remember we read that? We read the paper that said, hey, move them around randomly. So you have to go to math and you have to get a random number. Okay? Could we do this and it works somewhat okay? Yeah, it would just only go from 1 to 100. What's our screen though? How wide is our screen? 300. So this really needs to be 300, and this should start at 0. Okay, but guess what? We just studied. Does this work? Can I put 300 in here? No. Why not? Because we just studied this page right here, and we said if it goes to 300, that sprite is off the screen. So you cannot let it go to 300. Okay? So what do we have to go to? You got to drag this out. Okay? And now what we have to do is you're really going to the width of the screen. This right here is the width of the screen minus the width of the sprite. And down here, this is really the height of the screen. Not screen, I should say canvas. Okay, that's a better term. Okay? This is not screen, it is canvas. So you really want this a little equation right here. You want this equation. You want the width of the canvas, CNV, minus the width of the sprite, SPR. Who understands this right here? We want to write that little equation there. Who thinks they can write that equation in code? Yeah. Do you guys know where the subtraction is? Where's subtraction up here? In the math box. Go get a math subtraction box. Okay? And what are you going to subtract? You're going to subtract off the canvas's width. So let's go to your canvas. There it is, canvas game board. Does it have a width? Well, yeah, it does, right there. And you're going to subtract off the width of the image sprite. Boom. I'll drag this over here so you guys can see it all. Okay? And then I'm going to copy and paste this. Put it down here. But now this is not going to be, when I'm going up and down, should this still be width if I'm going up and down? What should it be? Height. So now this is the height of the game board minus the, what should this be over here? Height of the sprite. Perfect. Okay. Run it. Your guy is moving around the screen. Okay. Let's pause the tape, see if it works. So watch what I'm going to do. I'm going to take this guy out, and I'm going to go get a number here. And I'm going to put in 500. Now would he move off the screen? Okay. Now he can move off the screen. All right. So you don't want this here. Okay. You want to get a random number in between the screen width minus. So what it's really doing here is it's getting some number between 0. Let's go back and look at this. It's probably getting some number like between 0 and 250. That's what it's really doing. But I put in an equation there, okay, that sets it up that it'll always be right for me. All right, what do you guys want to do next?
Could we put in like 2 sprites?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Put in another sprite, and then you just duplicate this code right here so that you have image sprite player 1, and then duplicate it. You're just going to do this, right? You with me? And you're going to have image sprite player 2. Or you could have 10 of them in there. What? Are you guys with me on that? You just keep loading this up, right? Do you see how, that's a great question, by the way. I'm glad you asked that. Do you see how coding is really a lot about duplicating and copying and pasting? It is so much. Everybody thinks it's so hard. No, it's not that hard to get one little thing. Well, then how do you get 1,000,000? Well, you just keep duplicating until you get 1,000,000, right? When you duplicate, and normally you go 2, 4, 8, 16, 32, 64, 128, 256, 512, 1,024. You see what happens when you start duplicating? It grows exponentially, okay? All right, do you want to do the timer for the game time? All right. So we have to create a variable in here. Let's create a variable called game time. Actually, don't we have game time code in our backpack? Well, there you go. There you go. Why write it? Why write it? I can use this variable right here. Let's see if I spelled it the same. There you, yeah, I did. Okay, what are we going to initialize game time to? 60. Done. There you go. There's my game time code. You don't have it? You have it in your last program, okay? All you have to do is go back to your last program and copy and paste that into your backpack, right-click and send it to your backpack, and then pull it out and you have it right there. Let's see if I spelled clock game time the same. See how it says clock game time right here? Yeah, I did. I even spelled it the same. That's why you want to learn naming conventions, because once you I capitalize every single second word. Once you get this convention in place, then it helps you speed up for the next. Okay? Do you guys not know how to use the backpack? Have we not gone over the backpack in here? All right, so I'll show you how to use the backpack, all right? So let's say I don't have this code here. I'm going to delete all blocks, right? You guys with me on that? And let's say we have already done this too, so I'll delete these two. So watch this. I'm going to go to My Projects. Everybody go to My Projects. And what was the last one? Count me in player movement, right? Don't we have a timer in there? Was it in here or was it the one before? Sound decision. Okay, so it's in sound decision. Yeah, we had a clock moving around, right? Yeah, we have game time right here. So you go into your blocks. Oh, it started playing that one. That's funny. All right, so do you guys see all this code right here? And where's my variable at? There it is, right there. Do you guys see this? Do you guys see this game time right here? So let's say we're going to use this exact same game time in our next app, right? So watch this. Everybody look up here. Watch. Right-click, add to backpack. Right-click on this guy, add to backpack, okay? I just added it to the backpack. Right? Now watch this. You go back to your projects, and what are we on? Sprite Smash period 1? Yeah, here I am. I want to write code for my clock, right? To do the game time. I go into my backpack, guess what's in there? Clock game time code right there. Okay? Now it's saying, hey, you don't have that variable. So there's two things you can do. You can either go back into here and find that variable. There it is. And now you're done. What are we teaching students how to do in this class? Something they don't teach you how to do in other classes. We're teaching you how to work smarter, not harder. Because in the business world, guess what? Time is money. If I was paying you all $100 an hour, how much would I be paying you to sit in this room right now and work? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. It'd be costing me $1,800 per hour to have you guys sit in this room and work. Per hour. Are you with me? Time is money. That's why your employer is going to teach you to work efficiently, work smarter, not harder. Should my game time work now? Let's go see if it works. Edit. Okay, so my clock's ticking. My clock is working perfectly. It shut the clock over, and it said text-to-speech game over. But the problem is we didn't reset the clock. So when you go here, you have to reset this variable to be 60 seconds. So you're going to go game time has to get reset to 60 seconds. Okay. And I'm going to go ahead and create a procedure again because I love procedure calls. I'm going to call this display my game time. Okay, and I'm going to take this out of here. Yeah, I can. And right in here, every time the clock ticks, I'm going to call it to display my game time. Okay, and then up here, as soon as I set it, I need to go into my procedure and say, call game time, and it's going to come down here and call it. Okay, so now my reset button should work perfectly. Let's see if it does. Connect, reset, connect, AI companion. Okay, mine's working very well. Okay? Let's do one more thing. My Sprite's moving around the screen, right? How do we play the game of Sprite Smash now? How do you play Whack-A-Mole? What should you do to it? Hit it. And what are we going to hit it with? Not a hammer, because you'll break my tablet.
Your finger.
Your finger. Okay? So now your finger is going to touch the Sprite. And if we touch the Sprite, what should happen? We get what? Points. Okay? So we have to create a variable up here. Okay? And what do you want to call this variable? Points, my score, my points. What do you want to call them? My points. Okay? So I'm going to call it my points. And my points is going to start out at what? 0. And by the way, let's go do reset game right now. Okay, we have to display points now. Okay, so now let's create a procedure in here where we have to display points. Call display my points. Okay, so now when you reset the game, you have to reset the points back to what? 0. And down here, we're going to display points. Okay, but now here's one thing we have to think about. We need to display hits or miss, right? Whew. Yeah, I got to think about that because we're doing hits and misses here. So I'm gonna rename this called display hits or miss. Okay. Wow. Okay, I'm gonna rename this hits, and I'm also gonna have another one in here called miss, because we are gonna keep track of both of these. Hits and miss equal to 0. So now you're going to go to your display, LBL hits, go to your text, go to your text box, grab a join, and go to your text box again and grab a quotes. And here I'm going to say hits, colon, space, and then in here I'm going to put in my variable, get my hits, okay? And then I'm basically going to do the same thing, and I'm going to copy and paste this. I'm going to call this LBL miss, and here I'm going to go miss, colon, 0, 9 minutes left. Okay. And this is LBL miss. Okay. You guys see what I did there? That's just a simple copy and paste. No? You don't see what I did here? The what? The green one is, okay, let's go back here. Do you guys see the hits and miss up top? And what are they? A label. And what do we do with labels? We display stuff, right? So like you ever put a label on a folder? Why do you put it there? So you can display what's in that folder, right? Okay, so I go to my blocks, I go to my LBL label hits, and I go get the text. I want to display the text. Okay, and I put that in there. All right, you guys with me on that? Do you want me to do this one again? Yeah. All right, so I'll do it again. Delete. Okay, where do we display our stuff at? Where do you display things? In the scoreboard. And what's in the scoreboard? LBL hits, LBL time, LBL miss, right? So I'm going to go to LBL miss hits, and I want to set its text. And now you go back to a text box and get a join. I've showed you how to do this already this year. And you go back and get a text box again and get a quote, because in the quotes I can put anything I want. I'm going to type out hits, colon, space. Make sure you put a space in there so it looks good. And then down here, there's another piece of the puzzle, and you need your variable. So in there, you can throw in hits. Now watch. Everybody stop and watch. Do you think my LBL miss is going to be similar to this? Yes. So watch this. Copy, paste, LBL miss. This is going to change to MISS colon space. And then down here, this is my global variable for misses. Okay? And then back up here, we can duplicate this guy and say, okay, my miss goes to 0 when you reset the game. And down here, I can go ahead and call my procedure display hits and misses. Okay. So that's that. Okay, now we go back into our image sprite player. If the image sprite player is touched, does everybody see the touched? There you go. What touches it? Our finger. And what should happen if I touch the sprite? Our hit count, right, goes up. So, you know, if it makes sense, would you guys rather call this hit count? Or are you okay with hits and miss? Is hits and miss okay? Or I can rename this hit count. What do you understand? Okay. So if I touch the sprite, I'm going to go to my variable. And I'm going to set my variable for hits to be hits plus 1. Go to your math box and set it to be, go get your variable, hits plus 1. Okay? And now what do you have to do? Should I display my hit count? Yeah, it is. So right down here, what do I want to call? Who you going to call? Ghostbusters. No. Who you going to call? Display hits and miss. Every time you touch it, add 1 and display hits or miss. Over the weekend, I want you to think it. What is a miss? Okay, so what are you tapping on if you miss it? Yes. Very good. So what's considered a miss if you tap what? The canvas. Very good. So you guys want to do that? Okay. So now go to your canvas, and do you see how canvas has touched? And then basically I would just copy and paste and do the same thing down here, right? And then down here you're going to say, okay, this is a miss. And call display miss. Because if you hit the canvas and not the sprite, guess what happened? If you touch the canvas and not the sprite, what happens? You missed them, okay? All right, so let's go ahead and run this. And that's about all I want to do for today. Yeah.
So, you were looking at the reset game. What did you put in this?
Say what? What do I put in what? Start reset game. You want me to go over it again? When I start and reset the game, I set my game time to be 60, right? That's where we got to start at. So really, why don't we do this, okay? I like to put things in order. So when we start and reset the game, we want our clock to get turned on. I'm going to set the clock sprite interval to be 50 so it moves faster. I'm going to start my game time clock, set it to true. And then my game time clock, the interval is going to stay at 1,000. I want it to be 1,000, so it just does 59:58. I set my game time to be 60, and I display it. You got to display it, or you're not going to see the clock running. Yes. Sure. Global hits is equal to 0, global miss is equal to 0, and then display both of them. Okay? So this one procedure is doing both of these right here. You with me? Because I can do them in the same one. Okay? So that's almost the entire game right there. I mean, that's like 70% of that game right there. See you, bud. Have a good 4-day. That's like 70% of that game right there, and how long did it take us? 30 minutes after we did 7 minutes, 8 minutes on the first logical thinking. Okay. You see why we slow down to speed up? Because once I slowed down for like 7 minutes, you guys were probably all like bored. Oh my God, Missouri, I'm so bored. Yeah. Well, hold on, buckle up, because we're getting ready to go, right? I slow down so we can speed up. You know, guys, this is funny. I have students that like don't want to do engineering designs. Is that good? You have to learn how to stop, slow down to speed up, and do an engineering design. Am I right?
I don't know.
Yeah, you need to know, because that's what helps you slow down and speed up. So just like this today, if you don't understand something, what do you have to do? Your brain can understand anything. Are you with me? If your brain is not understanding something, it's not that you can't get it. It's that you're not getting it, and you have to do something so that you get it. Who understands that? You can't say, I can't get it. You have to do something to get it. Okay? And your brain can understand anything, but if you're not getting it, then you got to say, okay, why am I not getting this, right? Why don't I understand it? Oh, well, maybe I need to draw it out. All right? Have a great 4-day weekend. We'll see you on Tuesday.